Information Station 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. I was just reminded of something and I wanted to share it with you.
Okay.
Do you remember when, let's see, and this could still happen right now, so this isn't really necessarily something that only happened in the past, but I have a story I remember. We were all at that age, Rob, we were the same age, so we were at that age where our peers were starting to have children, and we would go to their house, and I didn't yet have any children of my own, but I had some friends, they had little children, right? And of course, I want to be, the friend of the family, the Uncle Larry or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a toy box, right? And you, what do you want to play with? You want to play with something? Let's play with something, right? So you become a kid again, right? And you go to the toy box and they say, can you read me a book? Well, which book do you want to read? And they pick a book out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you remember those vanilla wafers that I guess they're still out there, right? Vanilla wafers?
Oh, yeah.
Kids
I
would
like those.
always back then eat vanilla wafers.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something about the saliva of children and vanilla wafers that ended up putting this concrete-like substance on the covers of these books.
Yeah.
It was like this rough little, it looks gooey, but it's not. It's solid, right? And you look at this rough. And so I figured out something, and here's the connection. I figured out that I could predict which book the child is going to say, Uncle Larry, can you read me this book?
Uh-huh.
Right? And how did I know you were going to pick that book? Because it's got the vanilla wafer
Wafers.
crumbs on it. It's got that vanilla wafer concrete thing going on, right? I'm holding some books right here that I bet would get the vanilla wafer treatment.
Yeah.
These books look like they would be the favorites of children everywhere. And there's even a book here that looks like a children's book, but it's really for adults. And they're all written by the same gentleman. He's on the phone. He is Randy Halterman. He is an inspirational Christian author and a children's author. And he's written some really delightful books, and we've got him on for a little bit of time, so let me not waste any more of his time and speak to him about these books. And I hope he doesn't mind me saying that his books are probably going to be the ones that end up with the cookie paste on them.
Yeah.
The vanilla wafer cookie paste. Randy Halterman, good morning.
Good morning.
You do your job well.
Thank you very much.
And I don't know if it's a badge of honor, but I think you will be one of those authors that gets the vanilla wafer cookie treatment.
Well, I certainly hope so, but I hope the book that you described as it looks like a children's book, but it's really for adults. I hope that one gets the vanilla wafer treatment too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, except that you know what? Maybe in 20 years I'll be eating vanilla wafers again. Maybe, maybe then. Yeah, the adult book is called The Last Story You'll Ever Hear. Very profound book. So let's not dwell on the children's books because I think, I want to mention them later on. But first, let's kind of focus on, because of the nature of the length of this interview, The Last Story You'll Ever Hear. Tell us what that's about.
Well, it's about two guys, and first just let me real quick tell you where it came from, because it's very interesting. I have never thought about writing anything in my life, and a couple of years ago I sat down one night and bing bang boom I write a little story called "There's Lots of People in All the World with Lots of Funny Things. There's things for fun, there's things for play, there's other things that ring. The things for fun can range in size from small to very big. The small things sometimes pick up bugs. The big things sometimes dig." And it just goes on, and it's like a picture book that's fun to read for children. So then I wrote another book, and I don't know where these came from. I'm thinking, well, I kind of knew they were good. So I sent them into this Christian publisher, and I had 2 contracts sitting on my front step the next day. And I say all that to say this: I believe that God allowed me the confidence to know that people like what I write. So as I was driving to a job one day, I'm a contractor in Orlando, and I was going to bid on a job, and I'm just driving along, and I should write a story about a guy named Skeptic and a guy named Confident. And I don't know where that came from. Well, I do know where it came from. It came from God. So so I went and I sat in front of this restaurant, and I started writing. And what you read on the pages is what I wrote.
Wow.
And I couldn't stop. And so I wrote for about an hour, and in a parking lot in front of this restaurant. And I had to go meet this lady to bid on a job, and I just couldn't wait to get home that night. Now I have a baby and a 4-year-old also, and when I get home, I don't have to spend time with them. I want to, but I spend time with them. So at 9 o'clock that night, I went down to my office and I started writing. And I wrote. I wasn't typing. I was just scribbling on paper because it was just falling on paper. And I wrote till 3 o'clock in the morning, and I finished the rhyming story that I'll talk about. So it's about two guys named Skeptic and Confident, and let me read a few words from the beginning, and then I'll get into it.
All right.
But it says, there was two men, as it is told, who had two different lives. They both had houses, cars and boats, great families, kids and wives. One man's name was Skeptic, and he never did believe that it mattered too much how he lived. Life's pleasures he did cleave. He lived for now and thought of self and never thought to give. The other man's name was Confident, and he knew just how to live. Confident was careful in all that he did. He knew what was right and knew what was wrong, it seemed, since just a kid. The men were friends and spent good times with each other's family and friends. They had conversations about life's rewards and what happens when this life ends. Now, I'm not going to read all of this, but a little bit more. Confident said that he was sure on the day that he took his last breath. Skeptic would argue until he was blue and deny there was life after death. Confident lived with a purpose. Skeptic never a care. Confident gave life to others. Skeptic had nothing to share. Confident always seemed happy, peaceful, and so full of joy. Skeptic always claimed bad luck had followed him since he was a boy. So there are two, if you picture two buddies, two friends, could be male, female, it doesn't matter, and they live next to each other, and Confident has a burden for his friend Skeptic. He tries to witness to him and tell him about God, but Skeptic he's not gonna listen. So the story says at one point Confident begs God for an answer for all the seeds that he's sown. And Skeptic says, I have so much life left to live. Confident says little he knows that his life he will give.
Yeah, right.
And then, so it comes to the point where it says, and then came the day that they both breathed their last. It happened so sudden. It happened so fast. Yeah. And they're standing in front of God. Like the Bible says, where man is appointed once to die, and then the judgment. So they're standing in front of God, and it says Confident was standing there looking with excitement at him. Skeptic was scared, and his eyes looked so dim. Skeptic was standing there looking in fear. God said, this is the last story that you'll ever hear. And God goes right into telling, his story about from the beginning he created a place that was perfect. And then sin entered in. Man tried to get past it, but he kept running into walls. So he sent his son Jesus to die on the cross. And so at the end of the rhyming story, it says, Skeptic was standing there with tears in his eyes. And this is the part that I think is the most powerful part of this rhyming story, because it's too late for him now.
Yeah.
And it says,
Randy, have you had much feedback from readers? Are you getting how long?
I've had a lot of feedback. I've had people tell me it's one of the most powerful evangelistic tools that they've ever read.
How long ago did you release it?
It's only been released about 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks.
Oh wow! So it's a brand new book. It's like a baby. And where are you? It says in your notes here that you live in Florida. Where are you?
I live in Orlando.
Oh, in Orlando. Okay, all right. And are you a minister at a church in Orlando?
No. I've always had an evangelistic heart. I try to present the gospel to everybody I see. Okay. And this really makes it easy because what I do now, it's funny because I run into people and I always ask them, if you die today, are you 100% sure you'd go to heaven? And if they tell me no, my publisher tells me I'm supposed to be selling the books. That's why I wrote it. I'm like, okay, so for $7.99, you can know that you'll go to heaven. No, I don't think so. So I hand them a book.
Oh, gosh. Good for you.
Oh, I got you.
And
Yeah.
so I'm just giving them away. God's blessing me in many other ways, and I just pray that it'll get into the hands of another Billy Graham or another Billy Sunday or somebody that will change the world.
Well, you are changing the world. I mean, one person at a time, one reader at a time. The one thing I feel confident about any good piece of writing is that the author lets it go, almost like letting a bird into the wind, and you don't know where that bird's going to go.
Exactly.
And you don't know where your words are going to go, and you don't know who they're going to help or who they're going to comfort. It may end up on the table at a doctor's office, and somebody who's there with a serious disease will pick it up and suddenly have some hope. So
that's my prayer.
You just don't
know. The world that we live in today, the problem I see with it is they're taking God out of everything. Somebody told me one time that our natural self is prone to do wrong. That's how we were born. The only thing that makes us do right is the amount of God that we have in us.
It could be.
And they're taking God out of everything. So, people say the world is spiraling downhill. Well, I don't know what they expect. So my prayer is that people will get a hold of this book. It'll change lives. It'll bring people back to God. And, I don't know where it'll go, but I know that the whole premise of me writing it is very strange.
Well, and the entertainment, literature, music, and anything of that nature has a responsibility, I think, and has an effect. And if you're going to point the finger of blame at anything to try to and maybe answer the question as to why is God being taken out of the schools? Why are we becoming? Why does it seem like we're more corrupt now than we were maybe 50 years ago? And I don't know that we are, but maybe we can point to some of the entertainment. So when you have another piece of literature like yours that is doing the exact opposite, it really has a big effect, bigger than I think any of you authors know. And Robin and I speak to authors all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Randy, thank you for being on the air with us today. The other books, by the way, we didn't really quite get to them, but they are children's books. They're delightful. Your children will love them. They will get the crumb treatment, as I described at the beginning. Do you have a website you want to tell us about, Randy?
It's randallsrhymes.com.
Randallsrhymes.com. Okay, that's a good one. And
the children's books are called Randall's Rhymes and Toddler's Treats. And I have a fourth one that'll be released in a month or two called Fun in the Forest.
all right.
And they're very Dr. Seuss-ish.
Very Dr. Seuss-ish. I think somebody will say in the future they're very Randy Halterman-ish.
Yes.
I hope so.
I think you'll get that. I think you'll get that treatment as well. Well, congratulations on your talents, and you're using them to the best you can, and for making life better for everybody. Thank you, Randy, for being on the air with us as well.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. We will take a little break. We'll be right back.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others by visiting the Habitat for Humanity Ocala home store on Northwest 27th Avenue. To schedule a donation, give them a call and they'll come and pick it up. For more information, visit habitatocala.org. Habitat for Humanity of Marion County, building homes, building hope, building community.
Alice, you gotta hear that.
What?
When I call Devon Self Storage at 873-0777, they answer the phone always so happy.
Always?
Here, listen.
Thank you for calling Devon Self Storage. This is John. How may I help you today?
George.
What?
You hung up.
Of course, I know all about Devon Self Storage across from Hobby Lobby and 200 and how you can store just about anything there and you have your own code to get in. I just want to hear him answer the phone again.
Again?
Why?
Yes, George, yes.
All right, 20 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Tuesday morning. It's the 25th day of June. What is the one thing we look forward to in Ocala every year about this time? We look forward to this thing we've taken for granted, you know?
Yeah.
God and Country Day. And yesterday, Joe Martin was telling us that he heard that there was not going to be a God and Country Day this year.
Right.
And we were like, what? So you did some research, you made some phone calls, and you got the details. And so I want to hear what you learned, and I don't know how many. I couldn't find it anywhere online, so
Yeah.
I don't know if this is well-known fact that God and Country Day has been canceled this year, not because of a drought, and we've had that before where
Sure.
well, we had God and Country Day but without the fireworks because there was a drought, like in when was that?
Oh, that was when we were at WTMC.
1998, I believe it was.
It was.
See, believe me, I remember the year. So, but I mean, the idea that we don't have it, no, we shouldn't complain because this really is funded by private money.
Yes.
I mean, for the most part. I mean, I know
It's all
I
private.
know that the police and the sheriffs have always supported it, but for the most part, the JCs have been the ones who raised the money for this. So, I guess we just are spoiled. You know, every year we had this wonderful 4th of July party in Ocala called God and Country Day, and this year, and you know the reason, so I'm going to ask you to tell us. But in addition to the bad news that there is no God and Country Day this year, you have some good news. In other words, some other places we can go
Oh, yeah.
where people are having some kind of a celebration. So our own, after how many years?
44.
44 years.
Yep.
Of God and
44
Country
years.
Day this year, not going to happen.
Right.
And this is for sure.
This is for sure. I spoke to a woman named Christine. She's been with the Ocala JCs for 5 years in the hierarchy, and she's very, very sad that this had to happen. But
Now,
they
what was
just,
the reason?
Well, they didn't have enough funds to cover all of the costs, and one of the main things was the fireworks, because they need to get insurance to cover the fireworks, and they need to get insurance to cover everything that happens on the ground. And the insurance agents here in our community, they're not covering the fireworks anymore, because if something should happen, it would be a lot of expense for the insurance companies. So they could not get any kind of insurance coverage for the fireworks themselves. So that
Well, how did the other groups get the insurance for their things?
I don't know. I don't know. I just know what Christine told me, and she
Right,
said
right.
that was one of the main reasons was the insurance. They want everybody in our community to stay safe, and also they had run out of funds for the event.
Right,
It's a
right.
private funding organization. They do a few two large events every year. That's the 4th of July, and then during the rest of the year they do fundraising events to fund the 4th of July. And one of the fundraising events that they do that does not fund the 4th of July is the haunted house event. All of the proceeds from the haunted house goes to taking underprivileged children in our community Christmas shopping.
Right.
And then they also use the other funds from the haunted house event to fund Christmas dinner for families and to buy them groceries. So all of that money comes in, and it goes out to help everybody in our community.
Well, to the Ocala JCs, we take our hat off. We probably have not thanked you enough over the past
Yeah.
44 years for making sure we have a God and Country Day. And now that we don't have it, we are not angry with you. We are.
Oh, no.
We are apologizing for maybe not supporting you. Maybe that's part of what we should be saying right now.
I think so. And she had the young lady's name was Christine, and she had the task to call the vendors, because all of the vendor stations were spoken for and everything.
Oh, wow.
So she had to call all the vendors and cancel that and tell them they're very, very sorry that
man.
the event had to be canceled this year. So, and it wasn't through lack of trying from the Ocala JCs, because they get huge support from private individuals, throughout the year when they do their fundraising event. But the fireworks, the insurance for the fireworks display, that was
Now,
one major hurdle that could not have been overcome this year.
I don't know if this is Pollyanna-ish, but is there any hope? I mean, is it possible that by getting the word out that somebody will say, well, wait a minute, I have an insurance company, I can insure that. I mean, Is there any hope that it could still be turned around?
I don't know. She didn't think so. She said as far as she knew it, it is all canceled now for this year.
Wow.
Yeah, the Freedom Run is still going on, though. The God and Country Day Freedom Run. There will still be runners this year, Thursday, July the 4th, of course. The race starts at 7:30, and all of the proceeds from the race benefits the Wounded Warrior Project. But as far as, the God and Country Day itself, the vendors have been told it's all been canceled, so I guess they're going to be finding other places to vend their wares.
Wow. All right. So that's the bad news. The good news is there are some fireworks displays going on. Where are they going to be?
On July 3rd, which is always every year, the city of Gainesville always hosts fanfares and fireworks. It's always a free event that's always done the evening before the 4th of July. It's really huge. Everything starts at 6 o'clock at night. The fireworks always begin about 9:40 p.m. The Gainesville Community Band is featured. There is Ricky Stano and Mindwalk will be performing before the Gainesville Community Band. And Mark Gaynard and the Barstool Prophets will be performing.
The Barstool Prophets?
Yeah.
Now, that's a week from tomorrow.
Yeah.
1 week from tomorrow. Okay.
It's at the University of Florida itself. It has a huge lawn area there. People are welcome to bring chairs, blankets, coolers. It's a free event. The cool thing about the Gainesville Community Band, when the fireworks go off, the band plays. So it's like when the 1812 Overture plays.
Oh, really?
Everything's coordinated.
Oh, really?
This has been going on for 40-some years, and it's just a spectacular event.
If you're just tuning in, Robin was giving us information as to why we do not have God and Country Day this year in Ocala. Sounds like some good, sound reasons, but nonetheless very disappointing. And Robin has a list of places we can go
yeah,
for.
And also on July 3rd, if you don't want to go up to Gainesville, you can go down to Inverness, to the courthouse down there. They're going to have vendors. They're going to have food. And then their fireworks is going to be at dusk. And the fireworks come over the courthouse in Inverness. So with that spectacular old historical building there, to see the fireworks in the sky, it's absolutely
incredible. How did they
incredible.
get insurance? I'm confused about this whole thing.
I don't know, but that's what Christine told me.
I know.
And so,
I know.
that's what she said. And
okay, so what was that? That was Leesburg?
Inverness.
Inverness. So Inverness and Gainesville.
On July 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah. Leesburg is having their huge 4th of July celebration event. Starts at 6 p.m. It's choreographed fireworks. It's right there on the water. It's called Venetian Cove. It's, the north end of that big Lake Harris or something, right off of Dixie Highway. And they have vendors, they have food. All of the fireworks are set off from a barge that's in the water itself, and music plays while all the fireworks go off. So that's in Leesburg. It's a free event, and they even have a children's play zone. They've got a swimming pool that's going to be open there. It's they've got a free baseball game, music, entertainment. Everything's a lot of fun.
So Leesburg, Inverness, and Gainesville, but not Ocala.
Right, exactly. And there's going to be an event in Haines City at Lake Eva Park. It's called Thunder on the Ridge. That's in Polk County. That's about an hour south of here. Okay. Right from Haines City. They've got show bands. They've got individuals playing there. Also, they have food, they have vendors, they have arts and crafts, they have children's games. That starts at 12 noon and goes till 10 p.m. The fireworks should begin about 9:30. Free admission. It's sponsored by the Haines City Parks and Recreation Department. It's the hugest fireworks event in Haines City and Polk County. And that's on July 4th. On July 4th, also at on Top of the World at the Circle Square Cultural Center.
Oh, they got one, huh?
Yeah, that will be here. The Ocala Symphony Orchestra is going to be playing there. Just to see the orchestra, it's $17 to go in to see the orchestra. Okay. But around the Circle Square Commons there, where they have the flea markets and the fruit stands and everything on Thursdays. They're going to have arts and crafts vendors. They're going to have music there. They're going to have children's activities. And then there will be fireworks.
Okay.
So right on top of the
All right,
world.
so that's sort of kind of in Ocala.
Yeah, exactly. And then July 4th, Silver Springs is going to have their July 4th celebration with Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Oh, wow.
But on concert days, there is a park admission. It'll be $34.99 just to go into the park to see the band.
Okay.
Yeah, so the park is normally free, but because it is a concert
I wonder
day,
if we can get tickets
yeah,
to give away.
I know, wouldn't that be great? And the fireworks at Silver Springs will start at 9:15. So
Wow.
if you want to see fireworks, maybe
So you
camp
think
across the street, you know?
Yeah, right. You wouldn't have to go in there, but it would be
Yeah.
fun, wouldn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
Casey, what does he look like now? He must have some age on him, huh?
Yeah, he does.
Are you looking at him? Do you have a picture there?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
He does. Has
Oh,
a little bit
man.
of age, but
I haven't seen him in a while.
But I feel bad for the JCs because they are a staple in our community. They do everything for everybody in our community, and it probably just all boils down to the funds. And I can imagine that, the insurance is very costly. So if they were able to get the insurance, it must have been, a lot of money, which they weren't able to reach their monetary goal this year. So,
Oh, well.
so they are
Guess
canceled.
what? Yes.
And
yes? Oh, you do have tickets for this, Casey?
Next week.
Oh, wow. Georgia said we're going to give tickets
Oh,
away
nice.
to Casey. Well,
Excellent.
here's the thing. I mean, where we're disappointed that Garden Country Day has been canceled.
Mm-hmm.
You know why Silver Springs is going to be packed.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know it. How much is it to get in?
$34.99
A person?
A person.
Well, that might.
Because it's a concert day.
I know.
Yeah, but I mean,
But Joe just gave us good news. We're going to give tickets away.
Right. But the fireworks out on top of the world, they're free. The fireworks up in Gainesville and Inverness on the 3rd, they're free.
Yeah.
The fireworks in Haines City is free. I mean, if a person doesn't mind a half hour to an hour, at Leesburg too, all of the fireworks are free. So if a person from Marion County doesn't mind a half hour to an hour drive, depending on where you go, you can still have a great 4th of July with your family.
Wow. I remember when, years ago, we'd go to Tuscaloosa Park, sit in the grass.
Oh yeah, that was the first part.
Just always loved that whole thing.
And then they moved from Tuscaloosa Park to the Marion County McPherson complex,
Right.
just for the fireworks. There wasn't any kind of events. It was just fireworks.
Oh, really?
It was great.
It's disappointing, though, huh? Garden Country Day, that's like synonymous with Ocala.
Oh, sure it is.
Just
Sure it
disappointing.
is.
But for those in the JCs,
No, they've done all they could.
We really want you to know how much we appreciate what you've done. Just, I think maybe we dropped the ball. We, as citizens. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Inverness has outstanding fireworks. It's right by the lake. There's a nice park there with restrooms and picnic tables and stuff. It's a wonderful place to celebrate the 4th of July.
I think is that one of the ones you just named?
Yeah, July 3rd.
Yeah,
the
Robin
day
just
before
named
the
it.
4th,
She
yeah.
just mentioned it.
I'm putting in a vote for Inverness.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Thank you,
that's
Pete.
probably my thing of choice too.
Really?
That one or Fanfare and Fireworks up in Gainesville, because
And
I
then
really
there's-
enjoy going there.
Are you still there, Pete? He's gone. And then there's Disney has fireworks.
Oh yeah, Daytona Beach does too. They zip those fireworks
Do you know what?
over the ocean. We
And
went there.
Washington D.C. has fireworks.
Yeah,
New York City has fireworks.
yeah.
Did I ever tell you? Disney is probably one of the best fireworks displays I've ever seen on the 4th of July. Okay, but I know Disney's not cheap. But one of my favorite. I'll be honest with you. I really do have some great memories of Ocala fireworks. So I'm not trying to discount that. But when I was in California in 1977, there was a naval ship out in Santa Monica Bay. You don't call it a dock. I mean, it was anchored out there.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Right? And they were shooting off like little fireworks. Like
cool.
like the guys on the ship were just shooting off little bottle rockets. And then from the pier in Santa Monica, they were shooting off these huge fireworks displays. So it was kind of fun to watch these like little guys, in a battleship. I guess it was a battleship.
Yeah.
And they were shooting off these little bottle rockets. And of course, they've got equipment on that boat that would make it. I don't know. Anyway, I guess you know where I was going with that. All right, we will push forward. We've got a fun game for you and Joe to play on Fun with Joe.
Oh, cool.
It is famous voices, and I made it multiple choice, so you and Joe will hear the voices. And these are famous voices who voiced commercials. So they're not in the normal settings that you would know them from, all right? We'll take a little break, and we'll be right back with Fun with Joe.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent